Hey there, how are you doing? My name is Angel and I like all things that are mysterious. So, this time we're going to get back into some UFO videos. I have been seeing so much shit about UFOs everywhere, right? And I'm like, I gotta do something. So, anyways, I was going to do your typical, Roswell or something big story, but that's not really my MO. I usually stick to smaller things, local things usually. So, here we are. I found a local story. Actually, I found a few, but first, let's start with what kind of got me down this path. So, a little story about me. This is like a personal story of mine, and this is regarding UFOs and stuff, and that's kind of what was going on as I was doing research for it was going to be a very long video, and I was dreading it because I knew it was going to take forever to edit and get uploaded and everything because of how long it was going to be. So I was thinking of ways to cut down, and when I was doing my research, I got to thinking about my own UFO story. So as long as I can remember, and I can remember back for a really long time. So I'm assuming this happened when I was really little, and apparently it just didn't make a big impact because I don't remember anything. But my dad swears on everything that we were abducted one night when we were driving back from Duran. Duran's about 20 minutes from Rockford. My great grandma has a farm out there, and we were out there visiting my great grandma and my uncles and stuff, and we were driving back. And my dad said that he was coming down, that would have been Kilburn. So he was coming down Kilburn back towards Rockford from Duran. And he said he's seen this big ass bright light. Okay, so he stopped. He pulls over, he gets out, and he's looking up. And he said that all he's seen were these rows of lights. And he said that it was so big, he couldn't see like the edge, like he couldn't see no sides. It was so big. And I don't remember anything about that. Anything. I don't have no memory of that at all. But he also said that he remembered looking up at this, and then the next thing he remembered was he's back in the car and he's driving back towards Rockford, but he's further down the road. And he said he looked down at his watch, and he said that we'd lost several hours. That doesn't make sense because it takes 20 minutes, give or take. It's not that far away. I don't understand. I've made that trip a million times. There's no way. No way. Not even if it was snowing. Yeah, this isn't my baby. So, anyways, this was back in the 80s. So, I don't know how old I was, but I was very, very young. And let's see. What other? I know I put notes in here so I wouldn't forget something. Driving back down the road. Oh. So, I know you don't know my dad, but I'm telling you, this man is brutally honest. Okay? You cannot sit in a room with him and eat a meal and eat with your mouth open because he'll come for you. What are you, a pig eating slop? Blah, 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 blah. Like, brutally honest, right? Just to the whatever, to the next level. And he's never been known for lying or anything. My dad's never lied or made shit up before. There's no reason for this. So, me being me, right? While I'm doing this research, I tried looking up, maybe there's a story about that. Well, didn't find anything about that particular thing, but I went down the Google rabbit hole like we do, and I found several stories, and I want to share them with you. Anyways, we're going to get into some articles that, yay. So, on July 15th, 2021, the Chicago Tribune shared a story. Let's see. Illinois has its share of UFO sightings, objects buzzing O'Hare, crashing in Batavia, flying tic tacs, and not all are easily dismissed. So, some have reported seeing them. Perhaps you've seen them too. After all, more have seen UFOs than cared to admit. Never mind, file a report. If the database held by the National UFO Reporting Center in Washington State is any measure, the first official sightings in Illinois began in the mid 1920s, when a farm boy near Moline spotted an otherworldly disc. The Illinois chapter of the Mutual UFO Network knows of stories of airships in the Midwest dating to 1896, but the majority of sightings are more recent. You might even say it's a boom time for UFOs in Illinois. During the past year alone, someone in Spring Grove reported a large flying tic tac like craft traveling rapidly toward Wisconsin. In early June, a flashing red and white flying something was reported high above. Oh, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Winnetka? Anyways, at roughly the altitude of a plane, but then started to descend before going below the tree line and out of sight. In March, a solid ball of white light was seen moving fast over Dixon. God, Dixon isn't that far away from me either. In May, a diamond-shaped object was spotted above Chicago, stopping, changing course, and vanishing. Around Easter, two blue glowing triangles were observed loitering over a mire in St. Charles. Are they going to give them a fucking ticket if they can catch them? Anyways, and those are just four picked randomly out of dozens of reports from Illinois. Though, to judge by the data collected by the Mutual UFO Network and the National UFO Reporting Center, Illinois UFOs haven't changed much since we first saw them. We see them while reclining in our backyards and farms, admiring the stars on a summer night. We see them while driving into work in the morning. We see them while walking the dog. We see them while strolling by the lake. We see them in snowstorms and from the window seat of planes over O'Hare. When U.S. intelligence officials released an eye-popping study recently about the government's ongoing attempts to identify unidentified aerial phenomena, AEPs, or not A, UEPs, sorry. I'll never get it together. We already know this. The only certainty that we can take away was this. We all see the same stuff. Orbs, discs, strands of lights, triangles, dancing triangles. Even mysterious tic-tacs are fairly common. What was new about that study was the government's posture toward UFO sightings. The remarkable concession that it can't explain everything being seen. The report was seen as inclusive, so inclusive that intelligence officials are expected to update it by Thanksgiving. It considered known U.S. technology, the technology over nations have weather balloons, swamp gas. Of the 144 cases examined for the report, 18 objects appeared to move using a technology that neither the government nor its adversaries were known to possess. No evidence of otherworldly beings were offered, and only one deflating balloon was identified from the 144 cases. But those 18 red flagged flying objects required additional scientific knowledge to successfully collect on, analyze, and characterize. Is it my BB? Meaning we don't know what they are because technologically, I can't say that word, technologically, they're beyond us. Gulp. As former CIA Director R. James Woolsey put it recently, he's no longer as skeptical as he was a few years ago. Other former government officials said that if the public were shown the entirety of the U.S. classified knowledge, many would turn to religion for comfort. This change in tone comes partly because every one of those 144 cases in the report, all sourced within the past couple of years, came from a combination of government approved sources, professional pilots, and military personnel. See, you and me, and the farmer's weird kid, we see something weird and we say something, but it's dismissible. Because frankly, we've been seeing things for a long time. Historically, Illinois has been a relative UFO lightweight, at least compared with the Area 51 wastelands of the Southwest or the misty forests of the Pacific Northwest. But even we have greatest hits: the Tinley Park lights of 2004, the mysterious football field-sized triangle of southern Illinois in 2000. In 2006, a dozen United Airline workers at O'Hare reported a disc above the airport that abruptly climbed, punching a perfect hole in the clouds. Sam Morato, director of the Illinois chapter of MUFON, said there are UFO reports near the North Shore Naval Station that stretch back years. From 1999 to 2001, the Rockford area became a hotbed of sightings. There are even enough UFO reports from the wider Chicago metro area to generalize. We see triangular formations. Then again, we see a lot of things. A mysterious point of light is also popular. In fact, to pick through the databases of MUFON and the National UFO Reporting Center, the nation's two primary gathering spots for data on everyday UFO sightings, is to be reminded of just how common it is. Wait, that's not what it says. Cut. It's a fucking sentence right there. Ugh. In fact, to pick through the databases of MUFON and the National UFO Reporting Center, the nation's two primary gathering spots for data on everyday UFO sightings, is to be reminded of just how common it's been is for Illinois residents to see UFOs. I did say that right. You know, I should leave that in. I'm not even going to take out the cut because I said it right the first time too, and it just doesn't sound right. Hey, I didn't write it, I'm just reading it. Arlington Heights, 1972. A UFO the size of a small car descends at a stop sign, hovers over the hood of a vehicle, backs up, remains still for 3 minutes, then zips away. Decatur, 1980. During a snowstorm, a dark object flying very low in the middle of a road at roughly 5 miles per hour and making no noise is watched casting a kind of searchlight. Oh shit. Rockton, 2001. A large burnt orange egg hovers for 30 minutes above an open field. Dude, Rockton's like a hop, skip, and a jump away. Well, bye, Zeus. Jeez. Oak Lawn, 1946. 5 silver discs in a V formation in daylight shoot toward Indiana. I think I said it right the first time. Batavia, 2010. A UFO crash. Note, the keepers of these databases often leave the names of witnesses off the report for privacy's sake. Plus, anyone can report anything, so actual investigations are a matter of triage. The observer of the Batavia crash pleads for urgency from the National UFO Reporting Center. You need to get off your lazy ass and find out what came down over Batavia. Oh, I said it right that time. And you know how it is with me. To be fair, they were busy. In the past year alone, MUFON has had 122 reports from Illinois, and that's down from the 141 received in 2017. This year, so far, it's had about 50 reports. The National UFO Reporting Center, which has 21 reports from Illinois since January, has collected roughly 3,000 sightings from Illinois that date back to the 1940s. And that number is probably low, said Director Peter Davenport, who's been reassembling years' worth of old data that was accidentally dumped during a recent computer meltdown. He sounded very, very exhausted when he spoke. I can't keep up with the UFO workload anymore. I can't. I'm a one-man operation. I run this out of my house, and if we had a staff and a budget, then we could handle more cases, but I'm just getting endless calls these days. And they've gotten more dramatic. Used to be distant lights in the sky. Now it's chevrons, boxes, triangles. Now it's overt, unidentified objects, where they used to be concealed. Since November, I've especially had more pilots from airlines filing reports. The databases maintained by MUFON and the National UFO Reporting Center are the scrappy, homegrown descendants of the defunct bureaucracies once tasked with UFO investigations, such as Project Sign, initially Project Saucer, Project Grunge, and most famously Project Blue Book, which was shut down in 1969. Blue Book was really all about appeasing the public, said Morato. Its whole mission was gather and quell. One of the leading forces behind Project Blue Book, which was headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, was J. Allen Hynek, who started as a staunch debunker of alien craft that eventually came to sympathize with the citizens he investigated. He went on to become chairman of the astronomy department at Northwestern University and founder of the Center for UFO Studies in 1973. It was based in Hynek's home in Evanston, though continues today on the far north side under the direction of Mark. We're just going to call him Mark. I'm not even going to try to sabotage his poor name. So Mark, a statistician, I know I said that wrong, and former volunteer for Hynek, who died in 1986. For a long time, though Hynek was an investigator for the Air Force, he never really investigated much in Illinois, partly because the quality of reports weren't great. We joked about a Hynek effect, that relatively there weren't enough UFOs reported in Illinois because they knew Hynek was at home, ready to investigate. Before the internet, there were scant places to report sightings. Generally, if you saw an unidentified anything and needed to say something, you called police. And police would often patch you through to MUFON or the National UFO Reporting Center. A lot of 911 facilities, same with calls to federal agencies like the FBI, often just send those calls through to us, Davenport said. However, since the rise of online UFO forums, all bets have been off. He maintains a basement office in Norwood Park full of case studies and still gets about one unsolicited report a week. But he doesn't keep a running database and gathering place to file UFO reports. The waters have become more and more muddied, he said, and the explosion of satellites and drones in the sky doesn't help. Lots of chaff these days, Davenport agrees. Poking through local reports, the holes in these stories can be big, round, and pulsing. December 20th, 2020. I noticed what I thought was a shooting star. I instantly thought, no way. I've never seen a shooting star in my whole life. All of a sudden, the light disappeared like it went behind a curtain, and the tail followed behind. It possibly opened a portal. June 1st, 2021. Looking up at the sky from my hot rub. I wonder if that's supposed to say tub. We're going to think that really is supposed to say tub, not rub. And saw what looked like a low orbiting satellite traveling from west to east. I should also mention I live near Midway. The new government report by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, entitled Preliminary Assessment Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, takes pains in its first lines to caution. The limited amount of high-quality reporting on UAP hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions, which makes sense to the mark. In general, and since the beginning of UFO sightings, the U.S. has led the way in UFO organizations and reports, but not necessarily in search on UFOs or the quality of reports themselves. Nothing's changed. In retrospect, maybe it wasn't the best idea for the feds to come out with that UFO report just before July 4th. That said, the report has been appreciated by the wider community of private UFO researcher. It's concessions to the unexplained, Mark said. That's a positive for this field, Morato said. The admission of not having the technical know-how to understand everything seen, photographed, and recorded on video may be a game changer. Davenport was disappointed by the report. It didn't offer enough of what the government knows. But overall, they agree. You've left with big questions. Oh, no, it's supposed to say you are left with big questions. We already know I'm not going to get it together. It's fine. So, as of last check, Springfield, 9:50 p.m., June 23rd, an orb. It's captured on video for 4 minutes. It strobes and glows red, hovers a bit, travels in one direction, then changes course abruptly. I never saw a plane do this, the witness says, and I heard no sound from it. 4 days earlier, the National UFO Reporting Center received an almost identical report from just outside Joliet. And less than a week before that, it received a similar report from McHenry. Same kind of orb, same movement, nearly identical pictures. Could be a drone, could be more. Keep watching the skies. And on that note, we're actually going to call it one. We only had time for that one story. That was a long story, guys. But you know what? That gave us a lot of information, right? There are sightings of UFOs all around me, and I know they're in Rockford too. I just didn't get to a Rockford story. But I think just seeing that they're all over Illinois kind of hit home for me. Oh, wait, that's. I thought there was some last year. I could have sworn they were talking about it. Well, if I find that story, I'll do it later. Maybe Randy will find it. He's still good on that kind of shit. He can find shit that I can't. I don't know how he does it. Anyways, on that note, if you have any stories about UFOs you'd like to share, you can comment down below. You can write me an email and tell me all about it. My email for this channel is listed in the link. The link is listed in the description box. I'm never going to get it together today. And what else? What else? Oh, do me a favor. Search if there's any UFO stories around you, because you might be surprised. You might not hear about everything. And honestly, besides my dad talking about that shit, I've never heard anybody say anything about UFOs here in Rockford. And then last summer, there was like a fucking UFO, and everybody was talking about it, and I was busy doing ghost stuff. So, you know how it is. Anyways, on that note, if you liked this video, Give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.